Come take a stroll with Nick down the road, with storyboard and tales untold. From the highs to the lows, get in tune that we go, 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 cause he's your guy, he's by your side. Hidden topics that's worldwide. So let's take a ride and make some noise. Buy you some merch for you to enjoy. Get the word from anything and everything with Nick Steinberger. Let's go.
Welcome to Anything and Everything Season 2, Episode 3. Why is it not working? Yeah! Woo! Yeah! 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 Welcome to Season 2, Episode 3 of Anything and Everything with Nick Steinberger, the podcast / night show now. Max, I think it's a night show now. I think we're getting into Jimmy Fallon territory right here. So, today has been a very long day, but we're here, we're good. We had a few hiccups right before this, but we're here, we're good. So if things look wonky or messed up, don't judge. Do not judge me. I don't want judgment. We also have new lighting. If you can't tell, I have 4 brand new softboxes. Very nice. Not that expensive, honestly, so I'm kind of happy with it. So they're different than our little old LED little strip lights thing, so I'm really excited. The other exciting part, today, we have a very special guest. We have the one, the only, Matthew. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Woo! Yeah!
Nobody knows how to pronounce my last name.
How are you doing, Matthew?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm going to fix your mic real quick.
Okay, go for it.
Boom, right there. Max, camera 3. That's not camera 3. There you go. There we go.
Okay.
So fun fact about Matthew. I kind of threw him on this last minute. I called him about an hour and a half ago and said, hey, I had someone cancel last minute. Can you hop on? And he was very happy to do it, and I'm very thankful that he was able to do it. How are you doing today, Matthew?
I'm great. It's, another beautiful day in Carbondale and rainy and hot and wet. And
it has been very, 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 very rainy today, and I think it's going to continue to be rainy.
Yeah, I think so. I kind of like the rain, though.
Yeah, I'm a fan of it. I like it. I feel like I work better in the rain. I feel like I'm a better in the rain kind of guy.
Yeah, there's no temptation to leave.
No, 100%. And it's nice whenever you're at work, and because I work at the Marion Cultural and Civic Center as one of my jobs, and they have that huge glass wall, so when you're working, you can just see the rain, because we've been getting ready for Miss Illinois, because we host it, and so we've been cleaning all week. We're going to continue to clean all week, but I'm excited for that. I love working in the rain. I love it. So, Matthew, how are you doing lately? What's been up with Matthew? Matthew Ellefson? Eiffel Tower?
You're close. Eiffel Tower. Well, I'll just leave that lay where Jesus flung it. It's Ellefson.
Matthew Ellefson, everyone.
Yeah. Way too many letters and pronunciation.
That's okay. My last name is Steinberger.
Yeah,
so.
You have like 3 different names combined. Like, your people got to Ellis Island, and they're like you, and you, and we're gonna put you all together into one human being.
No, it was my last name. It's German, Jewish, Italian, Canadian. It's up there. I'm very white. I'm a very white person.
Well, clearly, you're like the World War II trifecta. You're like Italian, Canadian. The Canadians. They did some work, but Jewish.
I'm not
German,
British though.
Just like,
I'm not British, thank God.
Well, there's that. Have you done 23andMe or
I have.
Any of those?
We did do 23. That's how I found out. I'm like 30% German and like 18% Jewish. I don't know if it's 18. It's like it's over 15. So
yeah, we
it's
did
up
it.
There. Shabbat Shalom. It's not Saturday, but Shabbat Shalom.
I was hoping when we did it, I was like, please let me be adopted. And
let me have cool genes. Let me have the cool ones.
Yeah, like let this all be a something wrong, and there's like a whole other family out there that I can go now be a part of. And no, I was stuck with those people, and we're pretty much about as white as you are.
Word.
Yeah.
No, it's very. If you do 23andMe, it's like a gamble. It's like you either get complete opposite of what you thought or exactly what you think. I don't think I've ever met anyone who was like, oh, that's new. I think it's one of the two. I don't think there's a middle road.
No. And in fact, like the guy, George R.R. Martin, who did Game of Thrones, he wrote it. They did him on that PBS show about your roots. And he found out that he had always thought he was Italian, and he found out he was Jewish, and that his grandmother had an affair.
Oh.
And that like all this stuff that he had no clue happened. And there he is.
Damn. Wow.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely crazy. Like, Game of Thrones, I never really got into it. I wasn't really a Game of Thrones guy. I was a Star Wars guy, though. Spaceballs 2 coming out in 2027. I'm very excited for that one. Very excited. Because apparently it's going to come out around the same time I graduate. So
Spaceballs 2?
Spaceballs 2.
I mean, it's either going to be amazing or it's going to be just
Horrible.
total crap.
I mean, did you see the trailer for it?
No, I have not.
So the trailer, it's very. Have you seen the first Spaceballs?
Oh God, yeah.
Okay, good.
I can quote that.
So in the trailer, the first like 3/4 of the trailer is basically being like, in the past 27 years, we've had this many Marvel movies, this many. Oh, I hit my thing again. So I have this thing, people, where I will hit my I'll hit my computer and I'll hit the HDMI cord. So I'm gonna scooch over. That way I don't, because my computer is right below me. Max is set up over there. So I gotta watch that. But back to Spaceballs. Back on it. The trailer, Spaceballs 2, the trailer is basically listing the 27 years we've had this many Marvel movies, this many Jurassic Parks, this many DCU attempts.
Wow.
It's basically dick on everyone. In MCU, 2 different Robert Downey Jr.'s. And then at the end it says, but there's never been a Spaceballs 2 until now. And then the guy, I can't remember his name for the life of me, the creator of it.
Oh, Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks. He said, we asked what the fans want, and so we gave them this instead. And so it's in very Spaceball style. So
yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, Joan Rivers is dead, so I don't know who's going to voice the bot, golden C-3PO character, but I think everybody else is around.
I wonder if they'll do like an in memoriam to them. That'd be nice. I know they did it whenever Leia died. Whenever the actor who played the original Leia died, that's what they did for her.
Carrie Fisher.
They dedicated, I think, Last Jedi to her.
Yeah, well, and what they should do is just hire her daughter, because Joan Rivers' daughter always tagged along with her mom, and everybody makes fun of how she has no career without her mom.
Yeah,
and so it'd be funny if
it would definitely be very, very interesting.
But
so, fun fact: I have not eaten shit today.
Really?
So
I was wondering why there were a bunch of Danimals.
I've got Danimals, people. I've got my little salad. I've got drinks. So throughout this podcast, don't mind my chewing and eating. Lauren, I'm sorry you're gonna hear my smacking, but I'm hungry, so I'm gonna be eating. So while I get prepared, Matthew, you're gonna take over. I'm gonna ask you a question. You're gonna answer it.
Okie dokie.
Who is Matthew? Describe Matthew.
Wow.
I know it's a pretty broad question.
Well, I'm going through the various, I have a couple different pat answers to that, and I'm trying to think, because some of them are not appropriate, some of them are.
I mean, it's anything and everything with Nick Steinberger,
outdated.
so we can't.
Well, I used to use, when RuPaul's first album, Supermodel of the World, came out, she had this song, Supermodel, and became very well known and famous. And it always used to start with, once upon a time, there was a little black girl in the Brewster Projects of Detroit, Michigan. And so that became my answer. People would say, "Who are you?" And I would say, "Once upon a time, there was a little black girl, and she turned into me." And it was all downhill from there. But so that doesn't work. No, I am someone who I'm not big into astrology, but I'm a Gemini, and I think I have those sort of dual qualities of, I'm an open book, but then there's a wall, like I'm very closed.
Yeah. I am, when it comes to like astrology, I don't believe in it. Obviously, live your life. You believe in it, cool, but I don't. They're all, for me, they're all like broad terms.
Oh yeah.
Which, I mean, like, live your life. I'm not digging on you if you do, but
I mean, I think it's very, in many ways, it's problematic. Although everybody, you do you.
Yeah.
To just sort of look at something, whether it's like astrology or like some Mayan calendar or like some random guy you find at a Denny's and you've decided to join his cult, whatever, like to follow anything and be like, oh, this is going to have all the answers. You will always find out that nothing has all the answers.
Yeah.
And that goes for everything. And people might get mad at me for saying that, but I don't
Hey.
care. There's a long line of people who've gotten mad at me and
Live your life.
yeah. But no, I was born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana. Everyone always says I don't have an accent, and I don't have a New Orleans accent. But if you live in New Orleans or you're from New Orleans, at least before really all these like carpetbaggers arrived there to take over and change the city a bunch. There are a ton of different accents. Like you could go from one neighborhood to another and you've got a whole different accent. But I really don't. But I was, raised by people who didn't really have accents. And, it's just the way it turns out. But I was born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana. I lived there most of my life. And lived somewhat in a few other parts of Louisiana, mostly still southern Louisiana, but more rural areas. I lived for about a year in Kentwood, Louisiana, which is famous for water and Britney Spears. And maybe not in that order, but
So going
yeah.
So going back to New Orleans, what was that like living there, and then switching to Carbondale?
Oh, well, New Orleans is a whole different world. I mean, it's a friend of mine who is a singer. She's a jazz singer. And in fact, at Christmas time, if you ever get really annoyed by that Ferrero Rocher commercial, there's little chocolate truffles. People hate that song because it gets in your head and they play it 24/7, but that's her song. And she did like a BMW Christmas thing too, but she always says New Orleans is the last frontier town in America, and in a lot of ways it's true. I mean, it's a place where I don't want to say anything goes, but a lot goes.
Yeah.
I think if you grow up there, you have a tendency to maybe grow up faster than other people.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
You get exposed to a lot of things. I didn't really think about crime a whole lot growing up until I was like in my teens.
And then you like became like sentient and realized like.
Well, yeah, I realized I was like, oh, we're the murder capital of America this year. It's like we have 400 and some odd murders, and we haven't, and it's like October or November. So and I think that was the year with the most murders. But
no, it's definitely. There's a point in your life to where you like figure out, wait, I'm like alive. Like this is whoa.
There's a world around me, and I am not the center of it.
It's not just mommy or daddy or grandma and grandpa just doing everything. I gotta figure this out.
People go to other schools, people have other friends and experiences, and but I grew up there, and in New Orleans, it's really unfortunate and it's really sad, and it's something I wish I could change, but it's not one of those things that probably one person can change unless you become, really a benevolent dictator, which I'm available for. And
Matthew Ellefson. Shit! What'd you say?
A lot of people say that when they mess up my name. They just scream, "Oh shit," and their pants get wet when they mess up my name too.
Shit, man. What? How do you pronounce it?
It's Ellefson. It's like
Ellefson. I'm gonna get it. Ellefson.
It's funny. Like, well, it's okay. I mean, like my entire career, people called me Mr. E. Friends, even when I was a kid, well, not a kid, but like a teenager on, they just call me E.
E.
Yeah. So, but New Orleans is an interesting place. I mean, it's unfortunate their education system, because you either go to what people think of as a private school, but is really called like an independent school. You go to a Catholic school, Now you would go to a charter school, but before it was like private, Catholic, or public. And you tried as hard as you could not to go to a public school because they were really, they just weren't good because they didn't they didn't put the effort. There were pockets in them where great things were happening, but and so I went to a very small private school, one of sort of like the more top elite schools in the city, and you really weren't around a wide variety of people, but you were exposed to a lot of different people because like we just went out in the world and did stuff, but just grew up and then
which I feel like that's a lot of way for a lot of big cities. I mean, I'm not from a big city, so I'm not really a spokesperson, but it's like you either get the best education or the worst education. I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but
no, I think you're right. I think and I think a lot of times it's what neighborhood you're in, where you are, all those kinds of things. And then like I've seen schools where like you're not going to learn how to add or subtract, but you're going to have this really amazing music teacher, or the theater teacher is like
like your best friend.
Yeah.
In between, when you were explaining like the school system in New Orleans, I was making a water with the flavoring, and I kind of got lost track on how much I was putting in here.
And how much did you put in?
I think about half this bottle. And so if you saw me do a thing, that's why. If you want to try some, I have another glass if you want to try this concoction.
I will try your toilet wine over there. That whatever.
Toilet wine? Don't you call it toilet wine? I'm taking it back. Okay, fine.
It is grape.
Here you go.
It is grape flavored.
It is. We're getting an up close camera shot too. So
I do the same thing though. I over
like it is.
I over flavor because I just prefer it over flavored. Life.
I
think that's magnificent.
No, don't lie.
No, I'm not. I'm like.
I put a lot in there.
You did.
And I need to water it down. I feel like I'm gonna keep adding water, and it will not go away. I feel like it's gonna stay the same exact way no matter what I do. I see it going down the color a little bit.
Everybody always wants, water into wine. You're going in reverse, but that's okay. But yeah, no, I like it. I like things over flavor.
Oh, gotcha. No, I ran out. Well, normally I'm with the great value. Hang on, let me get my voice changer. 1 second. What in the pause? Hang on. Don't worry, team. That was not what I meant to do, people. Hang on. Here we go. Well, bruh.
Well, normally I have the Great Value Arctic Frost Drink Enhancer, electrolytes, vitamin B3, B6, and B12.
I did not know vitamin B had more than one.
Apparently, there are 12.
Apparently, there's up
Possibly
to
more.
Possibly more. We don't know.
I mean, you don't hear about vitamin B14 very much, but
no,
you never know. But what does Arctic Frost taste like?
It's basically this like blue raspberry.
Snow.
It's basically just blue raspberry. I don't know where they got Arctic or the Frost from, but they got that. And whenever you were in law school, did you have an Arctic Frost in law school?
I have had Arctic Frost in law school. I think, there are times, I think anybody who has ever been in any school situation, whether it be university or really high school, even middle school, you are at the mercy of what is in the vending machine. And especially when it's been picked over, you are really screwed. And so I've had an Arctic blast from, where it's like by default.
Yeah. There's so I went to SIU, so did Matthew.
Yes.
They call him M. That's what they call him. And I'm a theater major, and so we're in the communications building. And there's a little there's a vending machine there, and sometimes it has the best stuff, and sometimes it has the most random bullshit. And sometimes like we debate, like, what if we just like open up our own snack shop that has just like meals you can cook, actual meals, not chips, because that would be nice. Because I don't want to walk all the way to the food dorms.
No, I mean, I knew a kid in, he was in middle school when he did this, but the school, it was when schools were going healthy, and so they got rid of all the soda machines, and it was a school also that had a dress code.
Oh.
And so he just took one of the extra lockers that no one was using and filled it with like Coke and drinks. And most people would get like a write-up about their dress code for not having a belt. And so he would rent belts and sell soda from there. And he did it for a good chunk of time before I found out about it and had to shut him down.
Why'd you have to shut him down?
I mean, I was the disciplinarian, but...
Okay, Anna, don't be a narc. Don't be a narc. Come on.
I mean, I was very tempted to say, what's your profit and what's our split going to be, but
yeah.
I didn't. I mean,
that gets into legal territory. Yeah.
He thought I was going to, get him in trouble, and I was like, no, I think you're very entrepreneurial, and I applaud you. We just can't do it, but no, you're not in trouble. I'm proud of you.
So
keep doing it.
So cutting back to the whole law school thing I brought up, what did you do? You just graduated.
Yes.
What'd you graduate with?
When you graduate law school, you graduate with what's called a JD, a Juris Doctor. And so that's what you have. They have other things you can do, things that are called like LLMs, where you like specialize in a certain type of law. But this is sort of like your basic law degree that you have to become a lawyer. So, yeah.
I gotcha. Well, we're going to go to ad break.
Okay.
I need to chow down this food. I'm tired of yapping while chewing. You guys are probably tired too. You're probably tired too. So we will be right back. Pause 1 second. Okay, we're back. So we will be right back after this ad break. Stay tuned afterwards, because upcoming, we're going to talk more into law school, why Matthew got into law school, and then whatever. We'll be back. Montage time. Go to effinggear.com. Get you a hat, jacket, some stickers. I missed. Stickers. Use discount code Nick Steinberger for 20% off. I went to Buc-ee's. Here's how it went.
Nick goes to Buc-ee's. What a sight. Nick goes to Buc-ee's. Pure delight.
So about a week ago, I was on the phone with my friends, and one of them said how their friend went to Buc-ee's. I said, I've never been there. I've only dreamed about this place, this land, if you will. And so, called my girlfriend and said, hey, you want to go to Buc-ee's tomorrow at 6 a.m.? Buy the merch. Drive 3.5 hours? Of course, she was hesitant, but I sealed the deal with getting her to watch How I Met Your Mother. Buy the merch. So it worked out perfectly. Buy. Good morning. We're in the car. Merch. It's like 6:15 in the morning. Buy the merch. And it's raining. Let's do it. Woo! Now, of course, I've only heard about Buc-ee's. I've never been to this land, if you will, the home of the buck. Buc-ee's. Do you see the connection here? It's crazy. I have no idea what I'm thinking. I've only heard of gas.
Hey, hey. Come take a stroll with Nick down the road, with storyboard and tales untold, from the highs and lows,
Getting to that.
We Go, 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 cause he's your guy. He's by your side. Hit the light makes this worldwide. So let's take a ride and make some noise. And buy you some merch for you to enjoy. Get the word from anything and everything with Nick Steinberger.
Let's go. That's the theme song, everyone. Matthew, did you know we have a theme song? Did you know I had a theme song?
I remember hearing a blurb of it, I think when you were advertising season 2, but I don't think I knew the words or that it was so reggae based.
No, it was
fantastic.
So the backstory behind that is I went on Fiverr halfway through season 1, and I saw a guy. I was just going to Fiverr for fun. You know what Fiverr is?
No.
Okay. So Fiverr is this website / app that basically you pay people to do whatever you want. Like random shit, like they'll promote things, like they can do anything you want. There's a guy that will dress up and as a cop and say whatever you want or things like that. It's sort of like a lot of times for like birthday messages or videos, things like that.
Right.
And so I saw one that said theme song. I said, oh, this is perfect. I have to do this. And so $30 later,
there you go.
I got a dope ass theme song with a puppet video that came with it.
A puppet video?
It was a full on music video that had that he did with puppets. So
that's
I'll take
fantastic.
it. If you're currently looking at the stream, you will see Matthew's name is being added to it, changed from Brandon. Did not realize that's happening. Shout out to you know who. But so we're gonna mess with that. But no, so we met. How did we meet? We never met in person.
No, we did not meet in person till like a week or two ago.
Yeah.
I think I had seen you doing something on like SIU website or it was something to do with SIU, and I was like, okay, that person, my instinct tells me that person has something going.
Was it the social media?
Yeah, it was something to do about social media.
I run SIU theater social media, so that might.
Yeah, it was probably. I mean, it was definitely something on social media, but it was like I think I get an instinct sometimes. Well, I get an instinct all the time, but I'll know somebody is going somewhere and somebody's going to do something, and they're not just about to hit a wall in life and end up there, whatever, I'll just get an instinct, and it's like, I want to know more about that person. I want to know more about what they're doing. And it's not because I, want to do what they do or anything. It's just I'm incredibly fascinated by other people. And, it gets me in trouble sometimes because people will be like, oh, you're creepy and you should have a windowless van and stuff. It's like, no, I just want to know about people because I want to try to figure out, even though I know you never can, but try to figure out why people are the way they are, what makes them go that way. It's the same thing with studying criminals. I know true crime is the new hip thing to do, but when I was younger and then all throughout, I've always found psychology and criminology especially fascinating because you can have two people growing up in the same household and one of them grows up to be a pillar of their community and the other one is skinning the pillars of their community and they sort of had the same life.
Yeah. No, that's definitely. First off, I appreciate what you said. That's not very nice, and thank you for that. But it's definitely a viewpoint. I'm a firm believer that connections are the number one thing that gets you in life. The more people you know that trust you, the more people you have good connections with is the best. Especially in the field I'm going with, entertainment, where you have to know people to land jobs. But no, it's definitely. I think my first time I remember. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was I got a random DM from a guy on Facebook. I said, "Who the fuck is this? Who the is this dude? What is this guy?" And which
I get that a lot.
I mean, I add everyone on Facebook, and I have a lot of followers on social media and overall. So I get DMs all the time. I get ads all the time. I'm like, okay, whatever. But sometimes I'll get a DM, and it's a paragraph. I'm like, oh, okay. And I think it was whenever I first released my acting website,
Mm-hmm.
and I think you said, "Hey, let me write you a bio, because Loki, this shit sucks as fuck." That's how I took it. I took it as let me rewrite your bio, because this shit sucks ass.
Well, I mean, look, everybody's got skills. There are certain things people are really good at, and I like if you want me to run a marathon, you can keep your ass waiting because it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
I got 28-inch legs, and we're not talking about the rest of it. But I mean, I saw it. I remember you put it up there, and I read it, and I was like,
Writing is not his
needs
thing.
it needs some punching up. It needs somebody who can, tell the story from a different angle, because he's writing. There are times in your life where you got to write your own story, and there are times in your life where you need somebody else to stick in.
And it's definitely because, like with theater, you have to a lot of times you have to write your own bio.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
for people to read it. And so I've
And you
gotten,
can tell who did.
Yeah, I've gotten good at that, but like when it comes to like writing a full on like page about me, I mean I have horrible grammar. But I mean I'm going for theater, so it doesn't really matter if I have good grammar. What matters is if I can sing and dance. So
Right. I mean, you just got to be able to read a script and read some notes.
Yeah.
And
now you, on the other hand, you're going to law. You gotta have good grammar.
yeah, you have to know how to write. And it's actually, law school is one of those places where if you're not humbled by the experience, going through it and experiencing it and learning, you're lying.
Yeah.
You're full of crap, or you didn't learn anything.
Which I feel like that's how it should be for anything.
Oh yeah.
Any school.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think, and I have been a professional writer. I've had things, I've written for other people. I don't usually write under my own name, but things that are like parts of books, or things that have been in like the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, all that kind of stuff. And so I thought I was a good writer. And then you get to law school and they're like, well, there's a whole different way to write here, and you can't be creative. And I'm like, wait, my whole thing is I'm creative. And so I'm like gonna, and they're like, no, you have to go hit things, go da 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 da.
Yeah.
And so you have to learn a whole new different thing. And it really is humbling. I think anybody who isn't humbled, I think, and it's one of those places. Like my sister and I have an older sister, and years ago when I was a teacher, I was talking about a student I had, and I said, I just don't think this kid is going to be able to learn much beyond this. And she was like, no, every child can learn. Every child can, they can do whatever they want. And I'm like, no, that's not the way humans work. We all have a threshold.
Yeah.
And it's not no one's better or worse than anybody.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, you're going to hit a wall in something. And
I really do believe that anyone, when you're younger, you can do anything you want in the world. Really, I mean, obviously, some things that you gotta have, like being president, you gotta get voted by people.
Right.
But like be like an actor. Like there's some things you're born with skills. But I feel like any like major thing, you can be what you want. And then there are definitely things that you were born with that no one else can do, or not a lot of people that are your thing.
Right. And the truth of the matter is there are actors and actresses out there musicians who don't have it. They don't have a gift.
And yet they still make it work.
Right. And there are people out there who have that gift, and they don't go anywhere with it, even though they try, just because there's a lot more to
like having
success than that.
Like I think like when it comes to success in any field, skill is like 30%, but drive or hard work is the 70%. It is the major thing.
Yeah. I mean, and because there will be people, I've said it many times with variety of different audiences and people. I've said, I may not be the smartest person in that room. 99% of the time, 100% of the time, I'm not the smartest person in that room.
Yeah.
But I am the person sometimes who can listen to it all and who can do something with it. And that is a skill I'm lucky to have. There are other things that I don't have that, and it's okay. But you got to be okay with not having something. And I think that's a huge problem in the world today, because we all think, oh, we all, we all want to be or can do this. And to a certain extent, you want to believe that. But there's a point where it's like, you are not Beyonce.
Yeah.
And you're not Beyonce. You don't have, you didn't marry Jay-Z.
Yeah.
You're not an amazing.
You got to work for it. You got.
Yeah, and I mean,
yeah.
even she has, bust her ass, and
Because like even like obviously there are people who are handed like or come from a family of money, things like that. But like even they still have to work their butt off to get to the point. I mean, obviously like you can be handed like CEO position, but if you really are successful, it doesn't matter how much you're handed off. You have to work at some point. You have to.
Well, and if you're like,
Obviously, some people have to work less, but
well, and I think there's a different way of working, and I think there's different things. And I mean, the truth is, I have met people who have nothing. They don't have running water. They don't have furniture. They go home at the end of the day. A kid goes home. There's not a place to sit in their trailer that they live in, and the water bill hasn't been paid, and it's been shut off, and so they're waiting till somebody has money to pay it. And it is much easier to go from a place where you have those advantages to move forward. But I've also met people who live in mansions, and no one gives a damn about them. Kid the same age, no one cares about them. Their mom is a drunk, their dad's off working and is never home, and mom's doing whatever she needs to do to cope, and nobody cares about this kid.
Yeah.
And so
I feel like it's always like life, no matter what it is, it's always like a scale.
Yeah.
Like you might have better advantage, but not better other things, or back and forth.
yeah, I mean, I once did some volunteer work at a trauma center, and they had this quote, and I wish I thought I wrote it down, and I wish I could find it if I had, but it basically was about how you had all these people in this center who had experienced trauma in all these different ways. Some of them, when you got down to the root core, it was like, okay, these people experienced, trauma, sexual abuse. These people experienced, trauma in the military or something like that. But they all had experienced trauma. And it was a quote basically saying, nobody's trauma is better or worse or more or less than anybody's. It's about how it affected you. So just because you didn't experience something that this person did and it's a horror story doesn't mean that your reaction and your experience is any less than that.
Yeah, and it's definitely a situation to where like you just have to listen. You can't just assume. It's one of the big things. You can't just assume stuff, no matter how wealthy, how poor, how whatever. You gotta assume. So cutting back to the law thing, why did you choose law school? What made Matthew Ellefson Ellefson?
You got it right the first time.
Ellefson?
Yeah. You get some applause for that.
Sorry for my earbud listeners there, but what made you do law school?
Well, it's an interesting story. I mean, I had gone to college and undergrad college, and I was living in New Orleans, and I was working for a company while going to college and they had like 4 different stores in New Orleans, and I ran all of them, like above all of them. They each had a manager. And so I was doing that, and then I stopped doing that, and I got into working for historians, doing writing and research and fun stuff like that. And then after that, I sort of almost a natural thing, I ended up in teaching, and I was in teaching for a good chunk of time. I don't want to say it because then people might try to figure out how old I am. And I try to be timeless, even though I'm not. But you get to a point, or at least I did, where I was like, I hate you people. I had given my all. I had left it all on the field. I had been in education and been a teacher and administrator who just, gave everything. And so I kind of had nothing left to give. And my life was taking a big pivot, and I was teaching, and we went on spring break, and we never came back because it was 2020.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to teach online. I don't want to teach on
I ain't trying to do
video.
that. No.
I mean, like the kids, they were like, they wanted to see my bedroom and my dog, and that was about it. They did not give a rat's behind about whatever we were reading or trying to learn. And then, so I stopped, and I thought, okay, this is the moment when you can figure out what you want to do. What's the next act? And, what is act 5? And so I thought about it, and I had always wanted to be a lawyer. I always was fascinated by it. People always said, you have a mind for this. Don't stop what you're doing, but if you ever want to get out of something, you should really think about doing that. And the problem was I grew up around some lawyers, and I hadn't seen people who were really like happy, who were content in their jobs. And, that was something that sort of mattered to me a little bit. But I just started to explore it, and I thought, you know what? I can do this. I want to do this. Let's do this. We're not like we're not going into like ballet. We're not going to become a Broadway dancer or actor or anything like that. We can't sing. We have so few talents. So let's just go with this. And
it proves the point that it doesn't matter what point in life you are, you can go back and change it. You can go do whatever. And it also proves the point, like, it doesn't matter what situation you're in, you can do what you want.
No, and it's true. And sometimes it's really harder. Sometimes there are more obstacles to get there. But there's a Latin phrase I like, and I don't speak Latin. I don't read Latin.
What?
I always wanted to, but I didn't. And but it's like, so I'm probably mispronouncing it, but it's like Inveniam viam faciamus, and it was actually the motto of a school I taught at, and it sort of means like we'll find a way or we'll make one, and that's sort of how I try to live life. And I realized that I can live life that way because I have a tremendous amount of privilege. That I can leverage to be able to do that. But it's like, look, we're gonna find a way, or we're gonna make a way to do this.
Yeah.
And
it goes back to the point of drive.
Yeah.
Drive has got to be your number one driver.
Yeah. And I mean, drive, and like for me, I am driven. I'm also driven to serve. Service has always been an enormous part of my life, a big thing. And so that's a part of it. And lawyers, oftentimes, you're serving in some way, shape, or form. You have a client, you're representing someone.
I mean, you could actually tell someone you've been served with a lawsuit. So
yes, you can.
You want to get literal.
You can. You have been served. And so I decided I wanted to do that. And then I was trying to figure out where. At that time, I was living in Mississippi, and I was living with a roommate. She was, my best friend. And so I thought about going to law school in Mississippi, and then I realized, I hate Mississippi. Like, there are people there I like. I have some friends there and people I consider family that are, like, you're fantastic. But on the whole, if we could sell you the state to somebody, go ahead and take it.
Yeah.
And that's just me. But and I realized I didn't want to go to school there. It was.
So was that part of the reason why you chose SIU?
Partly. And what I did was I thought about, like, where in the world do I want to be? And I had lived my entire life in the South, and I mean, I didn't want to be in a place that had one season, you know.
I mean, you moved to Scarborough. You got
Louisiana has 2 seasons, green and brown. and that's it. And hot and hotter. And I already sweat like a whore in church, so
Yeah.
I did not need to do more of that. So my dad was from Northern Illinois, and so we had always had a little bit of a connection to Illinois. And my sister went to DePaul University in Chicago, and I love Chicago. Chicago and is definitely a place that I felt at home. And so I thought Illinois, and let's start at the bottom and go from the bottom to the top
Yeah.
and visit every school. And so I put my dog in the car and off we went. And so this was SIU was the first school I went to. And then I visited a bunch of schools in Chicago, and then NIU, Northern Illinois, and I'm sure I'm going to mispronounce this, DeKalb or DeKalb. I don't know.
No idea.
It's just corn. It's lovely, but it's a lot of corn.
Yeah.
And so I visited all those things, and I can tell you SIU was the place where they knew my name. They knew I was coming. Number one, they paid attention to their schedule. They knew my name. They asked questions about me. They gave me a tour and all those things, but they wanted to know about me. And that was a big difference when I went to the other schools, and it was basically like, hi, I'm going to give you this pat, tour, and I am not going to ask you anything about you. I don't really care.
Yeah. I just want your money.
Yeah, just apply, and if you get in, maybe we'll and we'll take you or whatever. But other than that, I'm not. I don't really want to be doing this. Like they wrote me a follow up card, and they mentioned like my dog by name, and my dog is the greatest person on the planet. Yes, I said person.
Yeah.
And on the planet, he is. And exactly. But and so to mention him was like, oh, you got me. But the professors here, the teachers are, and I have a feeling it's like this across campus for the most part. They actually cared. They wanted to know about you. They are accessible.
Yeah.
Like if you go to law school anywhere else, you are going through a secretary, a teaching assistant, and maybe a couple other layers, and you still won't get to your professor. Here, I mean, their doors were open. We would walk in, and they would look at me, and they would say, Jesus, you're here again? Get out. I don't like you. Go away.
Yeah.
But they didn't. I could just see it in their eyes. But, it was a great place.
Yeah.
And my roommate at the time, I had said, SIU or NIU were the places I really, thought I wanted to go.
Yeah.
And she threw, I think it was a box of Kleenex at me, like across the room, and was like, "You're not going to fucking DeKalb."
Yeah.
Pardon my language.
Yeah, I'll do it again. Do it again. I got you.
You're not going to cab. Yeah,
There you go, don't
because
worry.
it was like 10 hours there, and Carbondale was like 5 hours.
Yeah.
And she was like, "There's no way you're going away. You're going that far." And funny story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this part's not funny, but she got cancer,
Oh.
and I worked with her kids, and we nursed her and did all the things you do for the people you love and care about. And she had said that you're not going to NIU. You can go to SIU because that's closer.
Yeah.
Like she had a vote. And then she was coming home for hospice, and I had to go get water for the oxygen. I didn't know this till then, but if you need you need water to run an oxygen tank at home.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know why. I still don't know why. And our mailbox was in the back of the house because where we lived, they thought mailboxes in front of your houses was ugly, so we weren't allowed to have them. So I pull around. I went and got this water. I pull around. She's supposed to be coming home, and I open the mail, and I had already been accepted to SIU, and there's a notice from NIU saying you weren't accepted, which was incredibly surprising to me. I don't know why they didn't accept me. No one does, but they all make mistakes. But and like right then my phone rang, and it was her daughter letting me know she had just passed away. And I was like, you bitch. Like,
Yeah.
this was your last thing. You
Yeah.
were like, you're not going there. I'm going to make sure you don't go
Yeah.
there. It was a very sad moment, but it was also one
Yeah.
of those moments where it was like, oh, I see how this goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so SIU.
Gotcha. All right.
I had to learn what a Saluki was.
Go Dogs. It's right behind you. So,
Yep.
all right. So when we get back, we're going to do another ad break. Ad break number 2. When we get back, we're going to switch it up.
Okay.
You'll find out what we're going to do later. Until then, we'll be back. Damn, dude. Montage time. Go to effinggear.com. Get you a hat, jacket, some stickers. I missed. Stickers. Use discount code Nick Steinberger for 20% off. I went to Buc-ee's. Here's how it went.
Nick goes to Buc-ee's. What a sight. Nick goes to Buc-ee's. Pure delight.
So about a week ago, I was on the phone with my friends, and one of them said how their friend went to Buc-ee's. I said, huh, I've never been there. I've only dreamed about this place, this land, if you will. And so,
Come on,
called my
you know you
girlfriend and
wanna
said,
buy
hey,
it.
you want to go to Buc-ee's tomorrow at 6 a.m.?
Buy the merch.
Drive 3.5
Come
hours?
on.
Of course, she was
Buy the merch.
hesitant, but I sealed the deal with
Buy it.
getting her to watch How I Met Your Mother.
Buy the merch.
So it worked out perfectly.
Buy
Good morning.
my
We're in the car.
merch.
It's like
Buy the merch.
6:15 in the morning.
Buy the merch.
And it's raining. Let's do it. Woo! Now, of course, I've only heard about Buc-ee's. I've never been to this land, if you will, the home of the buck. Buc-ee's. Do you see the connection here? It's crazy. I have no idea what I'm thinking. I've only heard of gas. I got it open. For those who don't- I've been trying to open this fucking baby bottle pop for about 30 seconds now. It wasn't a long time, but it took me longer than normal. Y'all ever had a baby bottle pop before? You ever had a baby bottle pop before?
No.
No.
Again, with the blue. It's like
What-
blue
fuck you, bro.
frost.
Don't judge my blue. Baby bottle pop, baby bottle pop. Lick it and dip it and shake it. Baby bottle pop, baby bottle pop. You ain't never had a baby bottle pop before?
No, I have had Fun Dip, which is is what that's sort of based on. It's old school. Like they would give you like this candy little stick, and you would like
No, I know what Fun Dip is.
get it wet, get the stick wet, and
Yeah.
then dip it in the sugar, and then it's all
Oh,
of a
it's
sudden like
just
a Harry
pure-
Styles song, and you're like high as a kite.
How's a guy? Speaking of high,
Yeah.
have you done cocaine, Matthew?
I have not. I've had multiple opportunities.
So in between the break, little Matthew over here said that
actually got interesting.
we talked about cocaine for I don't know how, And he said, that reminds me of my days in Louisiana. And me and Max go, huh? So, can you care to explain?
Finally, something interesting. Yeah, no, I mean, it's like, growing up in New Orleans. I mean, I grew up in New Orleans, and I remember, I think, like, this is true of a lot of people, but, like, once I got my license and I had a vehicle to drive, I had an older brother and an older sister, so, the vehicle was new when they got it, and then when I got it, it was, like, whatever condition it was after 2 other people.
Yeah.
But it worked, and it got me around, and so I had, like, freedom. And in New Orleans, you start drinking very early. It's just, and it's not, I'm
Like
sure
2?
not everybody.
Like 2 years old level?
Well, I remember like my parents hosting a cocktail party one time, and this priest gave me a taste of his drink. Was bugging him, and I was like, what does that taste like? And I think I was like 5, maybe. And
Yeah.
he gave me a taste of it, and I just spit it out on his pants because it was like some alcohol.
Yeah.
But you start drinking, you start going to bars. It's just one of those things that happens. It's just part of culture there, especially
with me, with my type of people, and I'm an Oompa Loompa now. All of a sudden, we represent.
All right, we're going back. We're going back.
But so I'm like 15 years old, walking in my first bar, and
Oh, shit.
I don't know what it's like for people in places like Carbondale or like West Frankfurt or something where, I just know that that's what it was like for me. I mean, I had people in like 7th grade, 8th grade who were, going to alcohol rehab because they had already got to that point.
I mean, in Europe, you can drink at 16.
Oh, yeah.
But the giveaway is
Yeah.
you can't drive till you're 21. So
True. And it's different, but I mean, I remember being, we would go out, and my curfew, I was the 3rd child of 3 kids, and my curfew was, you have to be in this house before, my mom like walked out of her bedroom door. So like 7 a.m. the next morning was my curfew. And
wow.
there were times I missed it, but you would go out to bars, and there was alcohol. And I remember being in a bathroom one time, 2 guys.
No, this story's about to go at the deep end, bro.
Like we walk into they're like, come on. I'm like, okay, I'm just, dumb lumbering guy walking around. And we walk into this bathroom stall in the men's room, and they like, one guy starts doing something. I can't remember if he was sniffing it or whatever it was. And he's like, do you want some K? And I'm like, what? I'm like, do you want some Special K? I'm like, flakes? Cereal? I mean, I was that but it was a relatively new drug at that time, at least as far as hitting people out there. I was like, no, that's okay. I'm driving. And they're like, okay. But yeah, like, so was around, lots of drugs. I never did them for the most part, just because I was like, I know if I try this, I might like it.
Yeah.
And I ain't traveling that yellow brick road, Dorothy.
I've had a few changes. Mom, if you're watching, I've never done cocaine. I go down the bridge, I promise you. But I remember my first college party. I really hit the college party really quickly. I walked in, and they go, Nikki. I go, hi. And they go, have you ever done cocaine? And in my mind, I'm thinking, am I about to do, like, this was within the first 5 seconds of me walking in the door. And I go, no, I've never done that before. And they said, oh, okay. I'm like, what? And whenever that happened, my viewpoint was, am I about to do cocaine? I mean, like, I know I shouldn't, but I'm not gonna be a party pooper. I wouldn't have done the cocaine. Don't worry, people. I would not have done cocaine. I promise I would not have done cocaine.
I think it was the great Rick James who said cocaine is a hell of a drug. And
have you done Rush? Have you done Rush?
Define. I'm thinking of what I'm thinking.
What are
and
you thinking?
I don't know if
The
we're
thing that
thinking
you-
of- oh, poppers.
Yeah, is that what you call it? Poppers?
You are you are like you are you little sheltered maybe or not. No.
Yeah.
If anybody has ever thought that Nicky Steinberger
Yeah.
was a gay homosexual, you just learned there's not a chance in hell. Because that is what I mean. Yeah, there's Rush, but
Yeah.
that whole milieu of things like that you're sniffing are a party drug called poppers, and it's not even what it was when it first started. They kind of got rid of it. It was a drug that they use for heart patients called amyl nitrate.
Oh.
But yeah, maybe I don't know if I've ever done that. Maybe, who knows? I don't know who's watching. But
Here, hang on. I will make it to where it will not sound like you, so you can say it. There, go now.
Oh, hell yeah.
All right, now explain explain the story of when you did poppers. Come on, get into it.
I mean, I think it was definitely one of those things where it was like somebody was like, try this. And it was something I had no idea what it was. Like I knew it was not cocaine. I knew I was not smoking something. I knew it was like, it was something I never learned. And I said, what does it do? And they're like, it just sort of like makes you kind of hot and relaxed. And I'm like, okay. And so I sniffed it, and yeah, your body gets hot and then you start to feel a little relaxed. Yeah, so there was that. But yeah, that's a whole different
ball of wax, a type of thing.
That's a whole different podcast episode.
Well, I mean, it's
The story of when Matthew Ellefson did drugs.
I mean, yeah, or something like that. But I mean, and I've never really done a whole lot of drugs. It's just not my gig. I mean, alcohol was great. I just wanted something that was going to loosen me up enough that I would be able to have fun. I didn't want to be vomiting or anything, but I wanted to be loose enough to dance and have fun and hop in a cage. And
So what are Matthew's craziest stories that he can legally say on camera? Legally. Remember, legally.
Legally, yeah. I think I remember I was with this girl, wonderful girl, adored her. Just gorgeous too, very gorgeous, and I adored her. And we had gone down to the French Quarter, I think like for dinner and stuff, and then we were like hitting some bars, and there was this cage and nobody was in it, and so we decided to get in it and dance for a while. And so there was that. Then there was another time when, if you've ever seen in the French Quarter, they have those wrought iron like railings along things.
Me and Max are looking at each other right now.
I'm traumatizing people.
No, keep going. Keep going.
Well, there was like getting, you're not supposed to walk on them and you're not supposed to dance on them, but I survived.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So like those were some wild times. I mean, there's just been.
Have you ever murdered someone before?
Define the term.
What do you
murder?
What do I have to-
No, I have never murdered somebody. It's funny because I am an incredibly like nonviolent person. Like I've never even fired a gun.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had people who are like, "Hey, you want to go shoot guns or something?" I'm like, I don't know about that, because it's okay and more power to you. But it's sort of like, I've never done that, and I don't know if I want to, lose my cherry on that and shoot a gun.
Yeah.
But so I'm a very nonviolent person, except in the way I talk.
Yeah.
Like if you've ever seen, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Showgirls.
Yeah, I have.
Okay. Horrible movie. Emphasis on the horror. Horrible movie. But there's a great scene where she's like, "Oh, I want to get ahead in this gig, and I want to be number one." And so she like pushes the girl accidentally down the stairs. And I'm always like, oh, people will be like, I don't know how I do this, or how do I get ahead, or how do I do this? I'm like, push them down the stairs. Like, do it showgirl style.
Have you ever pushed someone
And I
downstairs?
don't mean it. No. Unfortunately,
boo.
no. Usually people are smart enough to let me walk in front.
Yeah.
You know, either they don't trust me or they're like, you know, I smart enough to know, like, look, if there's somebody in front of me, there's a, you know,
Yeah.
they'll go first. But no, I have not. There's a list of people I've wanted to, I'm sure, but I think that's true of most people. I
Yeah.
think most people have people that
Brandon
they're
McGee's
like,
on my list.
yeah, I can see that.
So something happened. We don't know what happened, but something happened, and what was it? The application crashed. So the app crashed. We don't know how. We're trying to fix it. This might be the end of the stream. They really didn't like your cocaine story.
My last impression to the world is going to be like poppers and cocaine and dancing on Bourbon Street. It's like, oh no, you're not a distinguished or accomplished human being.
That's too fat too. Hey, I mean, if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. So.
Look, you got to pay the bills somehow.
Yeah, it's true.
Put your leg out there if you got it. Look, Sally Mae, student loans, everybody wants some money.
We're trying to fix it, everyone. All right, bye-bye. We'll see you in a minute. Okay, everyone. Welcome back. Different live stream, I guess. So, I don't know what happened. I blame
You
Matthew.
mentioned he who shall not be named, and
Oh, Brandon McGee?
yeah,
That shithead?
great. Now it's going to crash again.
No, so that was, if you remember what I mentioned when this stream first started, I said, hey, today is not the day. It's been a hectic day. And this has proven my point on why. Like, I can't even see the screen anymore. I'm just going at the mercy of Maxx Piper. It even says Brandon McGee again now. It's
I'll be whoever you want me to be.
it's all falling apart, Max.
I
It's
could-
fine. It's fine.
I could ruin him.
Oh,
From-
Brandon McGee, curse you, you fool, you rat. Ugh. So, I think this is a sign.
I don't think it's been a day for anybody because, like, I got my diploma in the mail today, and it was not mine. I'm not joking.
How do you get a diploma that's not yours in the mail?
I'm not sure, but like, okay, so it has the guy who is one, like, there's my name, and then he's right behind me in the alphabet.
Yeah.
And it has a sticker it has like his name and address on there, and then there's this separate thing that's the postal service where
Yeah.
it like pays for it. That one has my name on it, so they send it to me, even though whoever did this sent me the wrong diploma. So like, I got a diploma that wasn't mine. and I
Yeah.
also got jury duty.
Oh,
Summon,
shit.
so both of us are not having the best days of our lives.
It's okay.
It's okay. It gets better.
It's fine. Well, chat, stream, people that are watching this later after me and Max figure out how we're going to put this onto one episode. I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to figure out what's going on with old Bessie down there.
I have this effect on people.
Well, Matthew, thank you for joining last minute. Very, very, very last minute. An hour notice, if that. So, thank you for dealing with whatever happened tonight. I promise I'll make it up to you.
You are more than welcome. I will have to think of some other inappropriate stories.
Oh, yes,
to
please.
tell.
Please.
Yeah.
All right. Well, chat, thank you for joining. Again, I don't know what happened. It was that was weird. Really, really a fan of it. We're gonna do the classic outro. You know, the one and only one. Not mine, but it's a public one. So, thank you again for joining. I appreciate it. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I'll be back in a few days. Bye bye.